Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Lone Star Alliance Playoff Lacrosse. You are looking live at Ford Sports Village at the Z-Plex in Melissa, Texas, as Game On Sports Network brings you exclusive coverage of tonight's Lone Star Alliance Division I quarterfinal lacrosse playoff between the TCU Horned Frogs and the Oklahoma Sooners. Alongside Tom McGee, this is Brian Shackelford welcoming you to this evening's broadcast at the Z-Plex in Melissa. And Tom, we've reached the time of year that garners everyone's attention in the world of LSA Lacrosse, the 2024 Lone Star Alliance Championships. Tonight, we have Division I quarterfinal action for the first time in LSA Championship history as TCU, the number 3 seed from the South Division, faces off against Oklahoma, the number 2 seed from the North Division. TCU has been on a tear late in the season, having won 6 of their last 7 games after dropping their first 4 on the season. The Oklahoma Sooners also come into tonight's contest on a hot streak, having won their last 3 games following a 3-game losing streak. Tonight, these two teams battle for the first time this season with everything on the line as it's win or go home here tonight in our first quarterfinal.
You're absolutely right, Brian. And the Sooners bring a 7-4 record to bear today, as the Horned Frogs are at 6-5. So I'm looking forward to a closely matched game. Both coaches know it's going to be a physical game. The OU coach, Coach Purcell, mentioned that it's going to be plus or minus 3 goals is going to decide this game this evening.
No, indeed. And in speaking with the coaches prior to the game, both of them said that they wanted long possessions, try to keep this game, or try to at least keep the defensive side a low-scoring game. Of course, they said their own side, they want to score 15 goals if they can. But I think we both know that's not going to be the case here tonight, Tom, as both of these teams are primarily defensive-focused. But you give their attackers an open look at that net, and they can put the ball right where it needs to be to put a point on the board.
They're both got good shot location. And we're going to look to see who wins the ground balls. That could be advantageous as the game progresses on this evening.
And while we have a chance here during the lineup, Tom, let's go through tonight's starters for both teams. And we'll start with the home team this evening, the number 2 seed out of the North Division, the Oklahoma Sooners.
It's going to be Josh Hove, Kevin Hayes, Kyle Walchuk, Austin Hurd, Ben Claflin, Mason Sincata, Andy Schumann, Colin Zinger, Zeke Mullendor, Shep Myers, and Justin Kuntz. And for the Horned Frogs, it will be number 8, Harrison, Joshua Harrison, Joseph Kavanaugh. The list down here gets pretty long as we go along. Mac Rodvold and Carter Schubert. Let's go ahead. I'll get to these later. The face-off is just now underway.
And, folks, we're underway here in tonight's first LSA Division I quarterfinal with a spot in tomorrow's semifinal on the line as TCU will control the opening face-off to begin tonight's game. Working up top for the Horned Frogs, number 42, Andrew Wilson, as he'll get the right offensive set on the field. As we're set to go here tonight from the Z-Plex in Melissa, the shot clock down to 60. As Andrew Wilson will move over, goal line extended on the near side to number 32, Will Gambrell. The ball in X, now they look up top. A shot saved by the goaltender for OU, number 9, Kyle Wolchuk. As Murphy had point-blank range right there, Tom. And Wolchuk able to stop the shot and give Oklahoma possession.
You know, he's a heck of a player at defense. That's why they've got him back there. They're expecting good blocks from him tonight.
And now Oklahoma on their first possession on offense here. They'll start up top with number 32, Shep Myers. Myers working up top with number 10, Austin Hurd. As Myers and Hurd begin the offense, goal line extended on the far side. That's number 4, Andy Schumann. They'll work the ball around to the near side and come all the way back up top as the shot clock now down to 40 for the Sooners. No score here as we're early in the first quarter. That low bouncing shot just wide as they try to put one 5-hole on the junior goaltender, Carter Schubert.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to work out some of the pregame jitters. That shot wasn't necessarily open, but it's always good to try it.
And working on the far side, number 22, Justin Kuntz. And he'll go down, falling over top, number 17, Billy Niles. Oklahoma still in possession. They'll shoot, and a nice save by Schubert as that ball was put on goal by Oklahoma. And now TCU will control with a fresh shot clock as we move forward here in the first quarter of action in this LSA Division I quarterfinal.
You notice the patience as the game progresses, Brian, how well and strategically they bring the ball down, especially after a good block shot.
And TCU now on offense. This is the second offensive possession for the Horned Frogs this evening, as they work up top with number 3, Matthew Lockman, one of their stars to watch from the midfield for TCU. Now darting in number 42, Andrew Wilson. Another save there by Wolchuk. And in speaking with the head coach, Brody Cummins, before the game, Tom, he mentioned that Wolchuk is an outstanding goalkeeper, and they're going to need just the right shots this evening to put balls behind Wolchuk into the net.
Well, he's already blocked those 2, and he's a freshman. They're putting all their money on him as a freshman back there at goalie, and he's certainly holding his own.
And now TCU back on offense. The shot clock down to 52 is working up top for the Sooners. Number 18, Greg Drawn. Drawn working with number 2, Cole Caldwell. As now Caldwell will bring the ball goal line extended on the near side. They're working in X with number 1, Josh Hoved. As Hoved goes all the way back up top with Jay Cox. Shot clock down to 30. An 80-second shot clock here in Lone Star Lacrosse, and Carter Schubert with another save for TCU. So far, Tom, this has been a goalkeeper's game. A quick change of possession and a goal for Oklahoma. Number 30, Zeke Mullendor, as TCU lost possession of the ball in transition, and Oklahoma able to capitalize for the opening score.
You know, in visiting with Coach Purcell of OU before the game, he expected a close game, bar none, and that it could be a plus or minus 3 goal final score by the end of this contest.
And folks, your score here in the first period of play now: Oklahoma 1, TCU 0, as we're set to face off in the center circle.
Face-offs are so important in this matchup, Brian.
And the face-off won by TCU. The ball picked up by Andrew Wilson. And quickly the Horned Frogs back on the attack as he goes goal line extended on the near side with number 50, Cole Backer. Backer being challenged in X, and the ball knocked loose. Steal there by number 24, Mason Sincata. And quickly the Sooners back on offense.
Yeah, that could come back to haunt the Horned Frogs by not being able to bring it on down and do something with it.
And now Oklahoma with a chance here, 65 on the shot clock as they have possession, waiting for the right offensive personnel on the field. And they'll start up top once again. Austin Hurd with possession for the Sooners.
Watch how Hurd brings the ball down and studies the defense and is trying to find the open man.
They come all the way back up top with number 22, Justin Kuntz, as Oklahoma will reset with the shot clock down to 40, halfway gone, as we have approximately 11 minutes remaining here in our first quarter of play at the Z-Plex in Melissa. 1-0 the score for Oklahoma, and make that 2-0, as that's now the second goal of the evening for number 30, Zeke Mullendor, as he comes in from the near side, goal line extended to put the ball past Schubert.
Mullendor came to play today, Brian, and visiting with him before the game. He wants to be as unselfish as he can, but he said, if I'm given the rock, I'm going to do something with it.
Well, he's had 2 opportunities and cashed in both so far. And the score, with just under 11 minutes remaining here in the first quarter at the Z-Plex in Melissa, Texas, it's now Oklahoma 2, TCU 0.
TCU, go ahead, Brian.
They're working on the face-off there with the win, number 9, Joseph Kavanaugh. And Kavanaugh will get the ball back to number 44, JT Macedo, as once again TCU wins the face-off. They're back on offense, but do they lose the ball again? No. Nice work there by the long stick midi, Andrew York, to save possession, but a foul turns the ball over to the Sooners. Working on the near side, a spin move by number 19, Ben Claflin, as Claflin will reset the offense up top with Josh Hovey. Hove now releases up top, as Shep Myers will quarterback the offense with 60 on the shot clock for Oklahoma. They go goal line extended far side with number 23, Jay Cox, now working in X. And X, that's number 4, Andy Schumann. So 2-0 the lead here for Oklahoma as we approach the midway point of this first quarter in this Division I quarterfinal at the Z-Plex in Melissa. They go back up top as the goal scorer Mullendorf will release back to Jay Cox. Cox being marked by number 2 for TCU. An errant pass headed out of bounds.
Well, the Sooners are there, as you can tell, the Sooners are being patient with it. They've got a 2-score lead, and they're methodically going to work it in until they get another shot on goal.
Shot clock down to 15 as number 18, Greg Drawn for the Sooners, is challenged on the far side. A loose ground ball scooped up by number 44, JT Macedo. And you'd mentioned that in the open, Tom, that ground ball wins are going to be key in this quarterfinal matchup here tonight at the Z-Plex in Melissa.
Absolutely.
So a ground ball win for TCU. They're back on offense as we approach 9 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Still Oklahoma 2, TCU 0. And the winner of this game will face off against the game also taking place right now on Game On Sports Network between Baylor and Texas. That game being played on the other turf field here at the Z-Plex, just about 200 yards east of us. And the winner of these two games will face off in one of the Division I semifinals tomorrow afternoon right here at the Z-Plex at 4 p.m. Central Time.
More exciting lacrosse for everyone.
Yes, we're at Game On Sports bringing you 3 full days of the Lone Star Alliance Lacrosse Championships as we have quarterfinal action tonight in Division I, and we'll have semifinal action in all 3 divisions tomorrow, culminating with Championship Sunday, the 3 championship games to decide the Division I, Division II, and Division III champions of the Lone Star Alliance. The shot from distance up top by Ethan Griffin for the Horned Frogs goes wide. And bringing the ball back in from X, that will be Mac Rodvold for TCU.
Well, luckily they get the rock back.
Rodvold looking to shoot. No, instead he'll go short side. And a nice pass there to Jack Storer for the goal. Everyone thought on the Oklahoma side that would be Rodvold shooting at net, but instead he finds a wide open Jack Storer on the doorstep.
Man, that was just good shot selection. He went up top shelf on that one, and it was just a beautiful shot.
And that makes your score with just under 8 minutes remaining here in our first quarter at the Z-Plex in Melissa. It's now Oklahoma 2, TCU 1 in this Lone Star Alliance Division I quarterfinal. The face-off at midfield. Scrambling in, still a loose ground ball. And now it's pushed over to number 42. That's Andrew Wilson, and he'll slow things down as TCU will get their offensive set on the pitch.
Well, once again, TCU, Brian's won the face-off. Let's see if they can keep from turning the ball over and work it in and make something happen to tie this game up.
No, both of Oklahoma's goals have come off of possession mistakes for TCU, loose ground balls that Oklahoma was able to claim and then put in the back of the net courtesy of number 30, Zeke Mullendorf. So if TCU can keep those offensive mistakes or those ground ball mistakes to a minimum, and this could favor the Horned Frogs as this game goes on. What a great over-the-shoulder shot. The second goal of the match for number 26, Jack Storer. And that is just an incredible goal right there. Storer leaves his feet, a shot over his left shoulder, fooling Woolchuck completely, and Storer has tied the game at 2 here in this quarterfinal in Melissa.
That's one of Storer's favorite shot, that over the shoulder. He's got it down pat and made it pay off in this one to tie this game back up. Let's see where the Horned Frogs can take it from here.
Just under 7 minutes remaining here in the opening quarter of this Division I quarterfinal, and your score, Zeke Mullendorf 2, Jack Storer 2. A tie game here between TCU and Oklahoma. This another loose ground ball. And Oklahoma able to scoop up the loose ground ball. So far, TCU has been controlling the faceoffs, Tom, but Oklahoma has been winning the loose ground balls.
That's absolutely correct, and that will show you what happens when that does happen. They convert them into goals.
And Oklahoma will slow things down on the far side as Andy Schumann, along with Austin Hurd, wearing number 10 this evening in maroon and white, or pardon me, crimson and cream. Have to get that straight for our folks just north of the border. Number 23, Jay Cox, now on with Hurd to start the offense. Shot clock to 45 here in this tie game as we approach 6 minutes remaining in quarter number 1.
Brian, your thoughts on the shot clocks? Do you think it creates more tension or just speeds the game up?
Well, I think it does a little of both, Tom. I mean, you get both. You know, there's the intensity of having to get a shot off within 80 seconds. Now, 80 seconds, you know, that's a minute and 20 seconds. It's a long time. You know, it's a lot different than, say, the 24-second shot clock in the NBA, where you're under a lot of pressure. I mean, still with 80 seconds, you have time to set up an offense, run a play, run a couple of plays, and get that right open look. But I think that without the shot clock, this would be a very, very slow game.
Yes, I agree. And I don't think the players have any problem with having that shot clock as well.
No, and then the interesting thing there is the fact that the high schools, most notably the Texas High School Lacrosse League here in the state of Texas, adopted the shot clock 3 years ago. So now not only do you have the shot clock here at the collegiate level, they are also using the same 80-second shot clock on the high school level. So the high school players are already in tune with the shot clock when they get to this level of lacrosse.
That's fantastic.
A shot from distance, wide past Wolchuk, out of bounds. That had some mustard on it from the goal line extended on the far side by Mac Rodvold. Rodvold will get the ball back, as TCU will set up the offense on the goal line extended on the far side. Rodvold now up top, as they'll work the counterclockwise slide. A low shot, and Max Rodvold with his first goal of the match to give TCU their first lead in this quarterfinal.
That was a beautifully planned and executed shot. It was a patient shot, and it fooled the goalie. And now TCU, being down 2-0, is up 3-2.
Yeah, TCU comes storming back, scoring 3 unanswered goals to respond to the first 2 goals scored by Oklahoma. And folks, your score with just over 5 minutes remaining in our first quarter here at the Z-Plex in Melissa. It's now TCU 3, Oklahoma 2. Returning to the center circle, number 9, Joseph Kavanaugh for TCU. And a foul called against Oklahoma. And TCU will get the automatic face-off win on the foul.
You know, you don't see that foul get called too often, but when it does, it could be crucial, because now the Horned Frogs can go up by as much as 2 right now.
A 3-2 lead here for the Horned Frogs as the clock moves with less than 5 minutes to play in quarter number 1. The counterclockwise rotation set up by the Horned Frogs, working on the near side. That's Ethan Griffin. He'll try to dart inside, go back into X. They come back around. The loose ball picked up by number 47, Carlo Miggins. And Miggins, along with number 42, Andrew Wilson, Tom. The TCU squad refers to those 2 young men as the twins, and they are both great midfielders that are not afraid to get in there and do the dirty work for TCU.
You're absolutely right, and they don't mind that acronym as being called the Twins at all. It just shows good workmanship and teamwork between the 2 of them as well.
And Ethan Griffin, after getting up after he was mauled on the pitch there by Oklahoma, but Oklahoma still in possession as the long stick midi Kevin Hayes, wearing number 8 this evening, will bring the ball to the timeline. 60 on the shot clock as Oklahoma on offense. And a shot there, a save, great save by Carter Schubert to help TCU maintain the lead.
Schubert was right there waiting for it, and now gives the Horned Frogs another opportunity to excel.
Coming down the near side, number 50, Cole Bacher. He'll work goal line extended on the near side as the offense comes in for TCU. One of the twins, Carlo Miggins, now up top. The shot clock moves under 60 as we have about 3.5 minutes remaining here in quarter number 1. Backer in X will come goal line extended to the far side. A skip shot and a goal. With the goal for TCU, number 1, Ethan Griffin. And TCU has extended the lead.
Griffin was right where he needed to be, Brian, at that time. As you can tell, he scored. But he strategically got back down in that pocket and was ready for the ball to take a shot.
And we have a timeout on the field taken by Oklahoma with 3:21 remaining in our first quarter of play here at the Z-Plex in Melissa. It's TCU 4, Oklahoma 2 as we have timeout on the field. And folks, we want to remind you that not only do we have quarterfinal action here in Division I tonight as part of the Lone Star Alliance championships. We also have a full slate of games tomorrow, so set your calendar, folks. At 1 p.m. on Saturday in Division II, it will be the semifinals between the Texas A&M Division II squad and the Tulane Green Wave. And here on this field, we'll also have the East Texas Baptist Tigers against the Missouri State Bears. Catch all of that action right here tomorrow. That's 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. That'll be an 11 a.m. breakfast game out on the West Coast. That's the Division II semifinals tomorrow here at the Z-Plex in Melissa. A&M Division II versus Tulane, and East Texas Baptist versus Missouri State. Those games come your way at 1 p.m. Central tomorrow.
This gives me an opportunity to give a shout out. Coach Purcell wanted to acknowledge his 2-year-old granddaughter, Arrow, is watching this game today, Brian, and he sends his love back home to the family, but especially to his little 2-year-old granddaughter, Arrow. So, Arrow, I hope you're enjoying the game.
And folks, we want to take a moment and thank you for tuning in here tonight on Game On Sports Network, wherever you may be watching across the state, throughout the country, or around the world on the World Wide Web, as we have games going on here, both here at the Rhett Field here at the Z-Plex in Melissa, over on the Reed Field happening right now. It's the North number 4 seed Baylor against the number 1 seed from the South, the undefeated Texas Longhorns. And you can also catch that game right now on Game On Sports Network. So if you've got more than one screen there on the old laptop, pull up both games, put our sound on. You can just turn the other sound down on the Texas Baylor game. And we'll make sure that we get you through both of these games here this evening. And also another set of quarterfinals coming up at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Game On Sports. We're heading back to play now, the face-off. And it looked like Oklahoma almost got that face-off win, Tom, but it's scooped up by Joseph Kavanaugh for his 5th consecutive face-off win in this match.
Well, if you notice, the TCU skirted the ball back to allow the other player to come up and grab it. So they're winning the face-off game so far this afternoon.
Yeah, the face-off game clearly in favor of the Horned Frogs, as they now have possession, looking to extend this 2-goal lead. The shot clock moves under 55, as working the ball up top on the far side, one of the Twins, number 42, Andrew Wilson. Now he'll dart in now on the attack for TCU. Wilson marked up top by number 28, Colin Singer. As Wilson looks for room, a low shot from the side off the post by Matthew Lockman, the familiar ping of steel, as that ball pinged off the post out of bounds, and TCU will bring the ball back into play from X as Mac Rodvold brings the ball back into play.
Good shot selection, just right off the cage.
Rodvold in X, he'll come to the near side goal line extended. Marked on the side by number 11, Jackson Hicks of the Sooners. Rodvold looking to move inside. Oh, he loses the ball. And there's an unforced error on Rodvold and the Horned Frogs as the ball turns over to Oklahoma. But right there to take it back is Matthew Lockman for TCU.
You never know what you're going to expect.
Less than 2 minutes remaining here in quarter number 1. The score remains TCU 4, Oklahoma 2. As Andrew Wilson now on the attack. He'll move back into X with Cole Bacher. They take the ball around goal line extended. They come up top on the far side with number 32, Will Gambrell. Gambrell, a low shot and a goal for TCU. How he found an opening there on the lower left side is beyond me, Tom McGee. But he found just the corner of that lower left goal to extend the lead.
Just a phenomenal shot. It's one of those hairline with all the bodies that were in between. Got it in the lower left part of the cage for a fantastic 5-2 lead right now.
And now the score, with just over a minute remaining in our first quarter. Here at the Z-Plex in Melissa, it's now TCU 5, Oklahoma 2. And once again, TCU looks to control the faceoff, and they do. And it's a fresh shot clock now as we move close to a minute remaining in the first quarter of play.
TCU's got to be happy how they've turned things around, Brian, since they were down 2-0.
No, indeed, Tom, this is 5 unanswered goals.
Yes, sir.
I mean, Oklahoma scores the first 2 goals of the match within the first 3 minutes. And the last 11 minutes of play here in the first quarter has been all Horned Frogs. 5 unanswered goals to establish a 5-2 lead as we have just seconds remaining here in the first quarter.
We're actually getting some sunshine now. It's been cloudy and overcast pretty much all day. The sun's finally come out a little bit too.
The low sidearm shot by Cole Bacher goes over the top of the net. And TCU will bring the ball back into play from X.
No, 20. It's game clock. We're at 20.
About 20 seconds remaining in the first quarter. The shot clock pretty close to equal. Wolchuk with a nice save there on the shot coming from the side by Carlo Miggins. They go downfield as the horn sounds, ending our first quarter of play. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the first 15 minutes in the books here this evening from the Z-Plex in Melissa, Texas, as Game On Sports Network brings you live exclusive coverage of the 2024 LSA Championships. And folks, your scores, we head to second quarter action here in this Division I quarterfinal. It's TCU 5, Oklahoma 2. And as we just had mentioned moments ago, Tom, after a very wild opening 3 minutes in which Oklahoma scored 2 goals, the remaining 13 minutes of period number 1 belong to the boys in purple, as it's 5 unanswered goals and a 5-2 lead for the Horned Frogs.
You know, that's just amazing to see. This 7-4 Sooner team, I've just not seen much yet. They're not winning their face-offs. They're losing some ground balls, and TCU has just capitalized on them, bar none.
2 opening goals in the game by Jack Storer, followed by single goals from Mac Rodvold, Ethan Griffin, and Will Gambrell. And that on the board against the 2 goals by Zeke Mullendor gives you the 5-2 score we have here after the first 15 minutes. And Tom, as we had spoken with both coaches before the game, both teams had wanted to focus on long possessions, but it seems as the first quarter went along that TCU sees something they like, as they have been able to shorten these possessions and still get goals into the net past the Sooner goalkeeper Wolchuk.
Yes, sir. Coach Purcell had mentioned to both of us that ground balls, clearing the ball, and offensive ball movement were going to be crucial in this game. And they have not quite capitalized on any of those 3 yet.
So Oklahoma now with some work to do if they want to play tomorrow in the Division I semifinal. And folks, as we had just mentioned earlier, be sure to tune in tomorrow. First of all, tune in later this evening, as this is just the first of 2 games tonight here from the Ford Sports Center at the Z-Plex in Melissa. Our next game coming up shortly after this game around 8 p.m. Central Time will feature Texas A&M, their Division I squad, against the Missouri Tigers. And Tom, that is going to be a very exciting game between 2 evenly matched teams for our nightcap here in Melissa.
Yes. It'll be interesting to see how this next quarter goes.
Now another face-off win to open quarter number 2 for Joseph Kavanaugh. So TCU now with 6 consecutive face-off wins, as Kavanaugh has been dominating the face-off dot here this evening in this quarterfinal match.
You know, that's one of the reasons they recruited him here. If anything, that's what they needed him for, but he offers so much else to this team as well.
You know, very quick, a 5'10", 165-pound face-off specialist, and Kavanaugh very quick with the wrists, has won 6 consecutive face-offs here as we start the second quarter of play. Working on the near side, that's number 42, Robbie Hoyt. As Hoyt goes back up top with number 21, Mac Rodvold. A whistle.
A missed shot.
The missed shot goes out of bounds. A shot and another goal for TCU. My view was a little bit blocked there. Tom, did you see who had that goal?
I couldn't. My view was also blocked. It was a slide shot, upper left.
We'll take a look here at the replay. It looks like it might have been number 3 with the goal. And that was number 3, Matthew Lockman, with the goal for the Horned Frogs.
Lockman coming off the bench. He's not a regular starter, but he sure is contributing tonight.
So a whistle on the face-off.
So we've got us a 6-2 ball game.
And it's now TCU 6, Oklahoma 2. As we resume play here, just over a minute gone in the second quarter. And TCU in possession once again as they look to extend the lead.
You know, TCU's strategy was to stay active and physical and playing as a team. We're certainly seeing that so far this evening.
And TCU now with 60 on the shot clock as they work on the near side goal line extended and try to increase this 4-goal advantage here in the second quarter. Near side goal line extended. That's number 21, Mac Rodvold. As Rodvold tries to maneuver to get a good shot on goal. And Rodvold with his second goal of the game. And this is 7 unanswered goals in this contest for the Horned Frogs, Tom.
They are really taking over this game, Brian, and it's amazing how they bounce back from being down just 2-0. In this game of lacrosse, the lead can change in a heartbeat, but they've got a nice, comfortable lead at this point.
And folks, your new score here at the Z-Plex in Melissa in our Division I LSA quarterfinal. It's now TCU 7, Oklahoma 2. TCU with both goals in this second period. Another face-off win for Joseph Kavanaugh. And he is just dominating that face-off circle this evening, Tom.
They've really got him where they need him, and he is producing.
And TCU will hold as Cole Backer will wait for the offense to come on the field. 60 on the shot clock. As TCU will look to extend this lead even further. 7 goals in the contest. 7 unanswered goals after the opening 2 goals by Oklahoma.
Just watch how patiently they are, methodically moving the ball around, be it up top or down low. They are moving the ball around very well.
Robbie Hoyt, number 42, goes back up top to number 21, Mac Rodvold. Rodvold looking for his 3rd goal. He'll try a shot from distance. That's wide past Wolchuk, out of bounds. But TCU, the first 2, the end line. And Jack Storer will bring the ball back in from X for the Horned Frogs. Storer's ball picked up by Lockman. Now back to Robbie Hoyt. And we apologize, we had a wrong number there on their jersey earlier. We had 2 number 42s on the roster. So my apologies to the family of Robbie Hoyt, as number 42 was doing all the work, and Andrew Wilson, who actually wears number 7, was getting all the credit. So the ball out of bounds. And a rare unforced error on the Horned Frogs as the ball will turn over to Oklahoma with just over 11 minutes remaining before halftime.
Looking for Oklahoma to do something here. This is their opportunity. Get back on the board.
So the ball brought back in to play by number 8, Kevin Hayes, the long stick midi out of Highland Park High School here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, as he'll look to get the ball back toward midfield.
Highland Park's got a successful lacrosse program, and he was one of the best at it for them.
A loose ball at midfield, and the ground ball win for number 22, Andrew York. And TCU goes back on the job, but York has the ball dislodged. Picked up by number 21, Mac Rodvold, and Rodvold will control for TCU. The shot clock fresh, but it's already down to 65 for the Horned Frogs as they look to extend this 7-2 advantage.
Looked like a hook there, but they didn't call it.
And while we have a moment, folks, we'll introduce today's officiating crew for you here in this Division I LSA quarterfinal. Your referee this evening, Donovan Stamps. The umpire is Boyd Guy, and your field judge this evening, Brian Landry. So those are the 3 officials, 3 very talented officials, over 45 years of lacrosse officiating experience between these 3 gentlemen here in this quarterfinal tonight at the Z-Plex. A low shot, the wraparound, and in the goal.
Number 26.
Wolchuk didn't know where that ball was, but it appears Jack Storer had zipped it by him for the hat trick. And with just under 10 minutes remaining before halftime, it's now an 8th unanswered goal for the Horned Frogs, and the Sooners will spend their second timeout of the half.
Yeah, Storr was looking at the goal and shot on it. Couldn't believe he had that much time to stuff the ball in the cage.
And folks, your score here as we have timeout on the field, just under 10 minutes remaining before halftime. It's TCU 8, Oklahoma 2. And folks, Game On Sports would like to thank our sponsor, Iron Horse Lacrosse. If watching the action this weekend has your kid excited about lacrosse, then check out Iron Horse Lacrosse Club. Their mission is to develop each club member to the utmost of their playing and personal potential in an environment that stresses the importance of discipline, courage, character, moral excellence, and fun. Check out all the action of Iron Horse Lacrosse Club on their website at ironhorselax.com. That's ironhorselax.com. And as we come back here, Tom, with the timeout on the field, as Coach Purcell has already had to use his second timeout here in the half, we still have a little under 10 minutes remaining before halftime. Go inside the huddle there. If you're inside Coach Purcell's mind, what is the message to the Sooner squad right now as TCU has just dominated the last 22 minutes of action?
Well, I think what he'd emphasize is ground balls and not getting any face-offs. If this continues, OU's in for a long afternoon.
No, and that's been the problem here, is the battle for ground balls, which OU was winning earlier in the game, but now it seems the aggression of TCU has come forth and they are winning the ground ball battle now. But still, I think my main issue or my main concern is Joseph Kavanaugh's absolute ownership of the faceoff dot, as Austin Hurd has barely even had a chance to get the ball. Kavanaugh has won the last 8 faceoffs in a row.
Yes, it's unimaginable, really. If you'd have told me this at the beginning, I never would have believed it.
So TCU 8, Oklahoma 2, as we face off here with just under 10 minutes remaining before halftime in our first of 2 Lone Star Alliance Division I quarterfinals this evening on Game On Sports. There are also 2 other Division I quarterfinals in action tonight on our other game channel. So be sure to check out all 4 Lone Star Alliance Division I quarterfinals this evening, brought to you exclusively on Game On Sports Network.
TCU eventually winning that face-off. Some substitutions going on. Shot clock at 60 seconds.
And Will Gambrell and Robbie Hoyt back on the field, along with Matthew Lockman. The bulk of the goal scorers as Mac Rodvold works on the near side against number 11, Jackson Hicks. Rodvold trying to get around the long stick midi, and Hicks with a nice move to deny him that inside cut. He'll go all the way back up top to Will Gambrell, who will reset the offense with 35 on the shot clock. The low spinning shot off the side of goal, bouncing toward the far sideline.
And it looks like TCU is going to retain possession.
And they will. It did draw iron, so it will be a fresh 80 on the shot clock as Will Gambrell brings the ball back into play for the Horned Frogs. Clock moving with just about 8.5 minutes to play in the second quarter. As your score remains, TCU 8, Oklahoma 2.
I think TCU can exercise a little patience here with the score being what it was.
Yeah,
but they will take that shot if it's there.
Yeah, Robbie Hoyt had a good look there. The bounce shot saved by the goalkeeper, Kyle Walchuk. And now Oklahoma on the move for the first time in quite a while, as Andy Schumann will start the offense for the Sooners. They take the ball, goal line extended on the far side with Josh Hoved, as Hoved moves the ball into X, being marked there by number 8, Joshua Harrison. A penalty flag, our first penalty flag of the game on the turf, as the flag coming up against TCU, but they'll allow Oklahoma to play the advantage, Tom. Shot clock at 45 for the Sooners. 2 penalty flags on the field.
Yeah, we'll see what the penalty ends up being and what they can do with this advantage.
Coming back up top are the Sooners with number 22, Justin Kuntz. Kuntz trying to find an inside shot. Great save. Closing the 5-hole is Carter Schubert, and he gains possession of the ball, and now we'll get the penalty call from our officiating crew as the clock stops with just over 7 minutes remaining in the half. So penalty free up until this midpoint of the second quarter, Tom, as both of these teams really focused on their offensive efforts here this evening. But in the last quarter and a half of play, it's been TCU that's had the decided edge.
The Horned Frogs have really impressed me so far, Brian. Those first 2 goals and then 8 unanswered, it's just some stellar play by the Horned Frogs.
And now we'll get the penalty call here from the official.
There are 3 fouls on the play, all by blue. 17 blue, trip, 1 minute.
No, that's me. 21.
That's 21 blue, trip, 1 minute. 3 and 17, both conducts, 30 seconds each. 1 minute, 30 seconds, 30 seconds.
So it looks like 2 tripping and 1 sportsman. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
So 3 men down will be the Horned Frogs as Billy Niles, Mac Rodvold, and Matthew Lockman, all 3 in the sin bin for TCU. So unsportsmanlike conduct penalties for 30 seconds against Niles and Lockman, and tripping penalties against Mac Rodvold and also Billy Niles. Billy Niles with 2 penalties on 1 play. So I'm not sure if he has to serve a minute and a half or just a minute. So man-up advantage as TCU with a nice save there by Carter Schubert. That looked like a good shot. Goal line extended on the far side by Oklahoma, but Schubert equal to the task, and he gets the ball downfield. The ball goes out of bounds, but it will force Oklahoma to reset with 75 on the shot clock and about 15 seconds remaining on the 30-second penalties to TCU.
Yeah, that was a long pass by the goalie. I bet he'd redo that if he had the chance.
And now the penalties have expired to both Longman and Niles. And it appears we have a goal by Oklahoma. A goal on the far side. It looks like that was, I believe that might have been number 4, Andy Schumann. We'll take a look at the replay on the goal here, Tom, as Oklahoma able to score shorthanded and break the 8-game goal streak by the Horned Frogs. So it is number 30 on the far side, Zeke Mullendorf. So give Mullendorf the hat trick, as Mullendorf has scored all 3 goals for Oklahoma here this evening at the Z-Plex in Melissa. And your new score, with just over 6 minutes remaining in the first half, it's TCU 8, Oklahoma 3. So Oklahoma desperately needed to take advantage of being man up in that position, Tom, and they did so to put their 3rd goal on the board.
You're absolutely right. We'll see the urgency on the behalf of the Sooners as we get closer to halftime.
And another face-off win for Joseph Kavanaugh and the Horned Frogs, as Kavanaugh will dump the ball off on the near side, and TCU will get their offensive personnel on the field working in X. That's Jack Storer, wearing number 26 this evening, playing the 2-man game in X with Cole Bacher. So less than 6 minutes remaining in the first half as TCU looks to get another goal on the board and reestablish that 6-goal advantage. Carlo Miggins, one of the twins, has the ball dislodged, a loose ground ball, and Miggins will pick it up, being mauled on the far side by number 24, Mason Sincata. And that shot deflected right into the cross of number 17, Trip Wood. And the entire TCU team thought that went in the goal.
They sure did. Had us fooled.
But off the deflection, Trip Wood saves the day for the moment for Oklahoma.
We've got a flag down on the field there, Brian.
And another flag as we'll stop play with just over 5 minutes remaining in the half. And this will be a man-up advantage for TCU, as number 17, Trip Wood, will make his way to the penalty box for Oklahoma. So the last thing the Sooners needed, being down 5 goals here midway through quarter number 2, is to give TCU a man-up advantage and a chance to reestablish a 6-goal lead.
I don't see any quit in these Oklahoma Sooners just because the score, it's a 5-goal differential. I think the Sooners are going to bounce back and really come up to play.
Oh, indeed, Tom. Plenty of lacrosse left to be played in this first Division I quarterfinal here at the Z-Plex in Melissa, as TCU now with the 1-minute man-up advantage. It's just under 7 minutes now remaining. As working on the near side, Mac Rodvold. He'll go back up top. Rodvold with a chance. The penalty expires against Tripp Wood. Back to even strength for both teams. And TCU will work the ball out of X with Ethan Griffin. Rodvold from distance, he'll shoot and score. They left Rodvold all alone 15 yards from goal. One-on-one with Wolchuk, and he was able to put it on the goal with deadly precision.
He was able to wind up and really crank that ball to the cage. So Rodvold has become a very important feature in this Horned Frog offense.
And folks, your new score with just under 6 minutes remaining here in our first half of play at the Z-Plex in Melissa, Texas. It's now TCU 9, Oklahoma 3. So both teams, well, actually that was an even strength goal, as by the time Rodvold had scored, the penalty True Wood had expired. Kavanaugh flipping the ball over to Robbie Hoyt for the face-off win. We thought that might be the first face-off win in quite some time for Austin Hurd, but it was not to be.
You know, that takes away so much offense from these Sooners, not being able to get that ball back down on the opposite end of the field, but Horned Frogs are taking advantage of it.
And now working the far side, number 47, Carlos Miggins, as he'll take the ball into X. They come back up top to Rodvold, who already has the hat trick today, along with Jack Storer. They'll settle things down here. Goal line extended on the near side. Shot clock down to 40 for the Sooners. Rodvold gets the ball to Will Gambrell. A shot from distance. And that is another goal as Will Gambrell scores from 22 yards out to make it a 10-2 advantage for TCU.
He just took his time, cranked it, went to the upper part of the cage once again, and it's working well for these Horned Frogs in this game today.
And folks, your new score here in tonight's LSA Division I quarterfinal. From the Z-Plex in Melissa, Texas, it's now TCU 10, Oklahoma 2. Or pardon me, Oklahoma 3, thank you. I was not giving Mr. Mullendore credit for his third goal. I do apologize.
That's all right.
My Kingdom 4 scoreboard, please. So, folks, unfortunately, we don't have a clock here or a scoreboard, so we're doing this all by hand, and we're keeping an eye on the official scores table, who is keeping time and announcing the time throughout the game. So official time is being kept, just not by us, Tom. We've got too much on our plate here to describe the action.
Yeah, that's true.
So working up top for TCU, that's number 33, Mason Wells. The shot clock moves down to 50 for this possession. Another face-off win for Joseph Kavanaugh. That's and I believe 10 out of 11 on the evening for Kavanaugh and the Horned Frogs.
Just lighten it up, plain and simple.
And the save there by Wolchuk will give possession back to Oklahoma, as Cooper Harris will bring the ball forward for the Sooners. Across the timeline, Ben Claflin, as Claflin will work goal line extended on the far, or on this near side, along with number 4, Andy Schumann. So Oklahoma with an offensive opportunity, and just over 4 minutes remaining before halftime. They work the far side goal line extended, as that's number 30, the goal scorer, Zach Mullendore. He has all 3 of Oklahoma's goals so far tonight. They come to the near side with Schumann working the rare clockwise rotation on this ride, as number 23 back up top, Jay Cox, with possession for Oklahoma.
Yeah, Mullendore's slowly getting open. They're looking for him, but they will take a shot wherever they can get it right now, with the score being what it is.
And the shot on goal saved by Carter Schubert. Quickly, he'll move the ball downfield on the attack. Billy Niles looking to shoot. A high shot, but it's grabbed by Jack Storer and put in the goal. The shot by Niles was traveling well over the top of goal, but Storer grabs the ball, redirects it, and zips it right into the net for the 11th goal of the evening for TCU. That's now 4 goals on the night for Jack Storer.
Just some good teamwork overall being shown out here by these Horned Frogs. And what a comfortable shot that was.
So now TCU 11, Oklahoma 3, as we have just over 3 minutes remaining in the first half of play here at the Ford Sports Village at the Z-Plex in Melissa, Texas. And folks, once again, we want to thank you for joining us here this evening on Game On Sports Network, as Game On Sports Network will have live exclusive coverage of all 13 games of the 2024 Lone Star Alliance Lacrosse Championships. And a rare face-off win for Austin Hurd in Oklahoma. That's only his second face-off win on the evening. And Tom, now, as the clock moves under 3 minutes remaining in the first half, Oklahoma desperately needs to score here on this opportunity and cut the lead back down to 6 goals.
You know, and I know they know it as well. And like you said, that was one of the few face-offs they've won so far this evening. And we'll see what they do with it.
So now working in the middle, number 32, Shep Myers. He'll move it to Hurd, the face-off winner. They go back into X, coming out of X. That's number 22, Justin Kuntz. Kuntz with a spin move. He'll lose his cross. Ground ball opportunity. And that's won by TCU. They'll pitch it out to the near side to the long stick midi, number 8, Joshua Harrison. And that will reset the shot clock as TCU now has possession with just over 2 minutes remaining in the half.
Time sure seems to be going fast when lots of goals are being scored. But I'd put these Horned Frogs up against any D1, D2, or D3 team out there.
And now working in the middle, Robbie Hoyt once again with possession. He'll settle things down, 55 on the shot clock. As joining him on the field, the offensive set, Will Gambrell, along with Matthew Lockman. Now Hoyt going to work. He'll move it into X with Jack Storr, or pardon me, that's Cole Bacher. Now Gambrell pitching it back to Mac Rodvold. So 2 minutes now remaining in the first half of play, as the save by the goalkeeper, and now Oklahoma on the attack.
Yeah, they've got to make hay with this turnover. They need to get a goal or two before the half ends just to get their confidence back.
And working on the far side, Josh Hoved. Actually, the ball here on the near side. In possession by number 18, Greg Drawn. 90 seconds approximately remaining here in the first half, as Drawn will take the ball into X and swap out Josh Hoved.
Got 45 seconds left on the shot clock. Let's see what they try and do with this, Brian, to make some hay.
Shep Myers on the far side being marked by his counterpart, Will Gambrell, both wearing number 32 for their respective teams. Now they'll dump the ball off to Zeke Mullendor.
Horned Frogs are playing good defense.
We got the call from the bench. 1 minute to play. We're inside the final minute of this first half, as the shot clock down to 20 for the Sooners. Back up top with Shep Myers. 13 to shoot. Myers puts a move on his defender. Gets pushed. Goal line extended. They'll go back into X. Now 7 on the shot clock. The ball behind the goal. They'll need to get it out front quick. And the ball loose. Turned over to TCU with just over 30 seconds to play in the half. Still a chance for the TCU offense, so we'll stop play. About 25 seconds, I believe, remaining in the first half.
Ball goes back to the Sooners.
Yeah, a foul called, and the ball turned over to Oklahoma. 17 seconds to play in the half. The shot from distance. Low to the side by Mason Sincata. And Oklahoma brings the ball back in play with 9 ticks remaining in the half. The ball bounced out front, and it will be held in X by Sam Ferguson for TCU, as they will rag out the final seconds of this first half of play. And the horn sounds, bringing us to halftime. Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of the first half of play from the Ford Sports Village at the Z-Plex in Melissa, Texas, as Game On Sports Network brings you live exclusive coverage of tonight's Lone Star Alliance Division I quarterfinal lacrosse playoff. And your score as we reach the halftime break here at the Z-Plex. It's TCU 11, Oklahoma 3. And Tom, just as TCU had ended the first quarter with 5 straight goals, they opened the second quarter with another 5 straight goals, and it's an 11-3 advantage here at the halftime break for the Horned Frogs.
Well, you can tell they just came out here to play this evening. rely on each other. They're moving the ball around well. Winning the face-offs has been so critical. I mean, how many goals have been scored off of them just winning the face-offs that the Sooners just haven't been able to do? And it looked like first 5 minutes of the game, it looked like OU was going to walk away with a good margin of victory leading up to the half, and it just hadn't been the case.
No, that has been the key so far in my eyes in this game, is the work of Joseph Kavanaugh in the faceoff circle, as he has won all but 2 faceoffs on the evening. But Oklahoma able to capitalize early on some TCU mistakes, as Zeke Mullendor with 2 quick goals for the Sooners to open the scoring in this game. But after that, it was 10 unanswered goals by TCU. And now here we are at the halftime break, and the Horned Frogs hold an 11-3 advantage as halftime adjustments are being made, and we have a short break here in the action.
10 unanswered goals. That's saying a whole lot for how these Horned Frogs are conducting their business so far this evening.
No, definitely not what you expect from a Mark Purcell coach team in Oklahoma, to allow 10 consecutive goals. But I'm sure Coach Purcell is hard at work now with his team here on the sideline as they make preparations for this second half of play. And just like you had said not a few minutes ago, Tom, don't count out the Sooners just yet, as there is still a ton of lacrosse yet to be played here this evening.
Got a feed from the other field if we wanted to let folks know what's going on over there.
We'll check in over here with our other field, as your score right now from our field here at the Z-Plex at Melissa. It is TCU 11, Oklahoma 3. And as we check in over on our other field at halftime, it is Texas 17, Baylor 5. So it looks like the Texas Longhorns will continue their undefeated streak, as they came into the season undefeated at 13-0 and have a commanding lead at the halftime break over on our other field against Baylor. And folks, while we have a moment, Game On would like to thank one of our sponsors for this weekend's games, Next Gen Audio Video. Next Gen Audio Video has been serving North Dallas since 2010 with services that include home theater design and installation. You'll have peace of mind knowing that all of your audiovisual needs are in the hands of people who care. To check out Next Gen Audio Video, visit their website at nextgenaudiovideo.com. And also, we'd like to thank another one of our sponsors this evening, as Game On Sports Network would like to thank Big Bad Carts. Big Bad Carts does custom golf carts with only the best parts the industry has to offer. From mild to wild, they can do it all from their offices in Salina, Texas. So check out their website at bigbadcarts.com and order yourself a custom golf cart today. And Big Bad Carts, Tom, they supplied the cart that we've been using here this afternoon. And I'll tell you what, even though we just have been using it for utilitarian purposes, just to move equipment around, that cart is big. And that cart is bad.
Yes, sir.
That we could get 6 people in that cart. That's not something you normally see for a golf cart.
You know, I was visiting with the Horned Frogs coach earlier before the game, and he wanted to give his shout out to the parents to let them know that they appreciate the support that they get from these parents. It's amazing to see the participation and roles the parents take in watching these kids play week in and week out. But they just wanted to say, the coaching staff wanted just to say, hey, thanks for everything that these fine parents have done for their kids.
No, and indeed here at this club level of lacrosse, in both the Lone Star Alliance and the Men's Collegiate Lacrosse Association, of which the Lone Star Alliance is a part, this is all club level lacrosse, sponsored for, paid for by the players. And there's no way that these young men would be able to do so without the support of their parents and the other folks who help them out throughout the season. So hats off to the parents for allowing these young men to continue to pursue their dreams playing lacrosse at the collegiate level.
You know, and so many of these players, as you well know, Brian, they came from successful high school programs. They learned the basics, you know, from junior high on, and they've reached the collegiate level, and they've gotten good coaching, obviously, or they wouldn't be where they're at, you know, now. So it just speaks a lot to not only the parents, but, you know, the coaches all along a young man's adventure up the ladder in lacrosse.
Indeed. And folks, we're going to take a moment here and step aside during the halftime festivities and take a short break here, and we'll be back with a very exciting second half here from Ford Sports Village at the Z-Plex in Melissa. Your halftime score here in this Division I quarterfinal. It's TCU 11, Oklahoma 3. And folks, we'll see you back here in just a few minutes for the third quarter of action. So stay tuned to the 2024 Lone Star Alliance Championships right here on Game On Sports.
Hit my line. Hit my line. Go to the mic. Hit my line.
Folks, we welcome you back here to Ford Sports Village at the Z-Plex in Melissa, Texas. Alongside Tom McGee, this is Brian Shackelford bringing you live exclusive coverage of tonight's 2024 Lone Star Alliance Division I quarterfinal between the TCU Horned Frogs and the Oklahoma Sooners. And Tom, as we are set to begin the third quarter of action here from the Z-Plex in Melissa, it is a 11-3 lead for TCU over Oklahoma. And we've got a second here, Tom. Let's take a look at some of the highlights here from the first half of play.
You bet.
And there's the opening goal by number 30, Zeke Mullendor. Mullendor has all 3 goals in the game so far for Oklahoma. And there's a beautiful over-the-shoulder goal by Jack Storer we talked about earlier. And charging in, that's Mac Rodvold with the score. Rodvold with 3 goals in the contest so far. And that was a second goal by Jack Storer that just completely fooled Wolchuk. And folks, we're going to resume action here as we're just about set to get the second half underway. The face-off at the center circle. A foul called. And TCU will have possession to begin the third quarter of play. And folks, this third quarter of today's game is brought to you by Iron Horse Lacrosse. Game On would like to thank our sponsor, Iron Horse Lacrosse. And folks, if you're watching the action this weekend and it has your kid excited about lacrosse, check out Iron Horse Lacrosse Club. Their mission is to develop each club member to the utmost of their playing and personal potential in the environment that stresses the importance of discipline, courage, character, moral excellence, and fun. You can check out all the details on Iron Horse Lacrosse Club at ironhorselax.com. The ball working coming out of X with number 13, Reed O'Connell. As O'Connell will wrap around looking for a shot. Denied by the long stick midi, Kevin Hayes. The shot clock down to 34 for the Horned Frogs as we have a minute gone here in the third quarter. And TCU looking to extend their 8-goal lead.
I think you're going to see a lot of patience being exercised in the second half by these Horned Frogs.
A bounce shot there by Carlo Miggins, saved by the goalkeeper, Kyle Wolchuk. And now the Sooners will have their first offensive opportunity as Cooper Harris will bring the ball across the timeline for Oklahoma. Josh Hoved now working up top with number 32, Shep Myers. As Oklahoma will have to step up the intensity here just a bit, I would think, Tom. They need to score goals, and they need to score goals with alacrity here in this third quarter.
Yeah, the coach was definitely on them for the face-offs and not controlling the tempo of the game that they had early on in the first half. So we'll look to see different play or improved play by these Sooners in this second half.
A shot by Austin Hurd wide of goal. And Oklahoma first to the ball. They'll bring it back into play. Shot clock down to 32. The ball working in X. Coming out of X, number 4, Andy Schumann. Schumann goal line extended on the near side as the Sooners have 20 seconds left on the shot clock. Back up top, number 32, Shep Myers, being marked by number 14 for the Horned Frogs, Jake Viteznik.
Yeah, the Sooners can't afford the shot clock to diminish on them. It makes them take sloppier shots and rushing the ball more than they need to.
Down to the final second of the shot clock. And the shot not off in time by Justin Kuntz, so an unforced error there. Turnover to TCU as we have about 2 minutes gone here in our third quarter. And TCU got exactly what they wanted out of that defensive possession. They forced Oklahoma to run out the clock with no shot on goal.
I think you're going to see a sense of urgency. I think you're going to see faster play by these Sooners as this game progresses, as they can't afford to let anything go. They've got to get these ground balls.
No, and in speaking earlier in the game, or before the game rather, with Brody Cummins, the head coach of TCU, Tom, he spoke about how he's a defensive-minded coach. And with an 8-goal lead here in the third period, I think you saw exactly the style of play that Coach Cummins is going to shift into when Oklahoma has possession of the ball, that his goal is to make them use that entire 80-second shot clock with no shot on goal.
That's a good viewpoint and a good point that he makes, and we'll see it span through this second half.
A quick shot on goal there by number 13, Reed O'Connell, saved by the goalkeeper Wolchuk, as O'Connell with the shot from 6 yards out. But Wolchuk equal to the task as our score remains Horned Frogs 11, Sooners 3. 65 on the shot clock for Oklahoma as Andy Schumann will control up top for the Sooners. Substitutions for both teams coming on as the offensive unit for Oklahoma. Jay Cox and Cole Caldwell on. And now Cox will control for the Sooners, 45 on the shot clock, as Oklahoma needs to bite into this 8-goal advantage for the Horned Frogs.
They've got to make something happen pretty soon. There's no doubt about it.
Caldwell working in X. As Jay Cox will bring the ball into X. Marked by Will Gambrell, or pardon me, make that 38. Brady Middleton forced outside. Now the goal scorer for OU, Zeke Mullendor, with possession. A nice ride there by Tucker Jackson to force Mullendor out of a shooting position. And an unforced error, and TCU will have control, but they force the ground ball. And it looks like a foul call. And indeed, it's a foul call against Oklahoma, as the ball was taken away from TCU via the foul, and possession now with the Horned Frogs.
One thing they can't afford is losing these penalties as well. It's becoming pretty critical here as these seconds tick off.
So now TCU with possession. They have 60 on the shot clock. Just over 10.5 minutes remaining in our third quarter as TCU enjoys the 11-8 lead, and that shot on goal captured by the goalkeeper Walchuk. And now Walchuk will try to move the ball forward, and it's stolen by Mac Rodvold. A great play by Rodvold. And TCU goes right back on the job. Rodvold will shoot from distance. And that shot deflected by Walchuk and picked up by the long stick midi, Kevin Hayes.
Good reaction from Rodvold. Being at the right place at the right time to bring the ball down. Its shot didn't go, but he was where he needed to be.
No, he was in the right place and put a good shot on goal. You just have to credit Kyle Walchuk with a great save there on that shot by Rodvold. So now the Sooners operate with 55 on the shot clock. The clock moves under 10 minutes game time remaining in our third quarter. And Tom, it just doesn't seem to me that Oklahoma is moving like a team that's behind by 8 goals. I mean,
no.
You've got to pick the right shot, obviously, yes, but are they using too much time here?
I think so, and it's showing out there, showing a little bit too much patience. You see them in their drills before the game, moving the ball around swiftly, and they need to start doing it here.
And is that a credit then to TCU to keep Oklahoma from being able to move the ball that swiftly on the passing attack?
I think their defensive strategy's working so far, even though we've got a goal just scored by the Sooners.
So as we say that, a goal scored by Oklahoma, the only goal so far here in period number 3. And we'll take a look here at the replay on the goal by Oklahoma. And it looks like it was number 32, Shep Myers, with his first goal of the afternoon. But let's check the replay. And Myers charging in. A nice whip shot and puts that 5-hole on Schubert. So Myers gets his name in the scorebook this evening and makes the score 11-4. Still a 7-goal advantage for the Horned Frogs.
Took advantage of the lower part of the cage, and it paid off.
So 11-4 the advantage for TCU following the goal by Shep Myers. And once again, as we have said many times this evening, Tom McGee, another face-off win for Joseph Kavanaugh and the TCU Horned Frogs.
It's amazing. They've really got that part of their game down, and it's attributed to all 11 goals they've got.
So now TCU in control. Just over 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter. They have 55 on the shot clock. And as you had mentioned before, I think Coach Cummins is going to slow this down here, although a quick shot there, another nice save. That's 2 great saves in a row on the last 2 shots put on goal against Kyle Walchuk.
Lots of substitutions going on, as you all can see out there. We'll see if it pays off.
So down to 50 on the shot clock for the Sooners as the clock approaches the midway point of our third quarter. Austin Hurd in control as the Sooners look to put another goal on the board here in the third period. Hurd goes back into X. They come to Zeke Mullendor on the near side, who'll go up top with Andy Schumann. They now clear out the near side as Schumann works by himself, goal line extended. They go all the way across the formation to Hurd. Shot on goal. Great save by Carter Schubert. And the deflection right to Matthew Luckman. And quickly TCU on the attack.
They're playing like they've only got maybe a 1-shot lead on these Sooners. And I love the aggressiveness that they're showing since early on.
And Billy Niles had an opportunity there to attack, Tom, but as we saw, he came over here to the sideline, and Coach Cummins said, nope, let's slow it down. We're still up by 7 goals. Let's take time off the clock. So now working in X as Carlo Miggins will pass. They'll go goal line extended to Rodvold. Comes the back up top to Ethan Griffin. Griffin with a nice move there on Ben Clayfin. Took Clayfin off his cleats. And the shot low to the far side of goal as Jack Storer brings the ball back in from X for TCU.
Yeah, watch the way they move the ball around, and eventually we'll see a shot being taken.
The low shot by Miggins, just wide of goal. And that will give possession to Oklahoma, as no one in X for TCU to claim possession of the ball. So just over 6 minutes remaining in the third. And Oklahoma now with yet another opportunity to cut into this Horned Frog advantage. But the ball stolen by, just as I say that, TCU steals the ball.
Another turnover.
So now things getting a little sloppy here as we move into the mid stages of the third period, as the teams are exchanging, ground ball errors rather than exchanging shots on goal.
Well, in talking with the OU coach, he mentioned ground balls, clearing the ball, offensive ball movement, and they've not been successful at all this evening so far.
So Ben Claflin will yield to number 18, Greg Drawn, who will start the offense for Oklahoma with 60 on the shot clock. And just over 5 minutes remaining in our third quarter. They come goal line extended near side with Cole Caldwell. As Caldwell working on the near side, marked by number 44, JT Macedo.
Well, the Sooners got a turnover. We'll see what they do with it, but it's crucial. They've got to get this ball inside the cage.
Jay Cox in X. He wraps all the way around out of X, takes the ball back up top. A loose ball coming to the near side. And the ball deflected out of bounds off of Joshua Harrison. And Oklahoma will maintain control. They get a fresh shot clock as well, as the game clock shows just over 4.5 to play in quarter number 3. So Josh Hoved with possession for Oklahoma, ridden into X by Joshua Harrison. The pass goes up top as Mullendor with another shot, and Zeke Mullendor looking for goal number 4, but that shot wide of net, and TCU first to claim it. They'll bring the ball back into play.
Well, I'm glad to see Oklahoma shoot on goal. That's what they've got to concentrate on doing, is getting the ball to somebody that can get open and make something happen if they want to diminish the score here, the lead.
Right, and give Oklahoma credit. They have scored the lone goal here in this third quarter. So Oklahoma capable of putting the ball on the net. They just need to be doing it a lot quicker. It just seems like they're taking just way too long looking for that perfect shot, where here at this stage of the game, with about 18 minutes of game time remaining and you're down by 7 goals, it can't be the perfect shot anymore, Tom. It's got to be a shot that's good enough.
You got to diminish the turnovers, Brian. That's what's killing them.
Rodvold with a shot on goal. He'll bounce it in front of goal out of bounds. And TCU there to claim it. They'll bring the ball back in from X on the near side. Just over 3 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. 30 on the shot clock for the Horned Frogs. Brady Middleton on the attack. He's ridden to the ground by Jay Cox for OU. They'll shoot and score. So Brady Middleton gets shoved to the ground by Jay Cox. He's able to spin out of that, recover, and catching Cox out of position puts the ball in the net behind Walchuk.
Notice he kept his head about him, his wits, and was able to take a beautiful shot on goal, and it turned into money.
And now Brady Middleton will extend the lead, as it's now TCU 12, Oklahoma 4, as we have just under 3 minutes remaining here in our third quarter of this Division I quarterfinal matchup, part of the 2024 Lone Star Alliance Lacrosse Championships.
That was a beautiful textbook shot that went up top, and it was just a beautiful thing to see. TCU came to play today.
So Middleton becomes the 6th different goal scorer this evening for the Horned Frogs, as they reestablish the 8-goal advantage at 12-4. And another face-off win for Joseph Kavanaugh. And he'll take the ball all the way back into the defensive end, as this now looks like Coach Cummins' modus operandi here as we move into the waning stages of the third quarter is going to be taking time off this clock. And as I say that, a wide open shot and goal. That's number 5 for the Horned Frogs, Colin Minnick. Great transition play there for the Horned Frogs.
Just caught the poor goalie without knowing that here comes the ball, and he sure made hay with that one. Beautiful shot.
So Colin Minnick with his first goal of the match. And that goal coming with just over 2 minutes remaining in our third quarter. And now TCU with their largest lead of the evening. It's now Horned Frogs 13, Sooners 4. The first time in this game that TCU has led by 9 goals. And as we have just over 2 minutes remaining here in the third, and it looks like we'll have a timeout on the field.
Yeah, Oklahoma's trying to kind of center the wagons, circle the wagons, and try and see if they can resurrect something out of this huge deficit that's befallen them.
And folks, don't forget that Game On Sports is just more than the home of Lone Star Alliance Lacrosse. Game On will also have the Texas High School Lacrosse League Championship Tournament coming up in just 2 weeks. You can see our full schedule on our website at GameOnSportsNetwork.com. So stay up to date on our website and all of our social media channels. Just search for @Game On Sports Network. So the first timeout of the second half here taken by Coach Purcell. Tom, get into the mind of Coach Purcell. He needs 9 goals. He's got about 17 minutes and change to get it done. What do you tell these players to keep them motivated and keep them in this fight?
I think one thing is, again, win the ground ball game, win the face-offs, and literally go with what brung them to this point. They don't have a 7-4 record for nothing.
No, it's not like they just show up and get handed the trophy, so to speak.
I think fundamentals are kind of out the window. They've got to force and make something happen, and they've got to do it fairly fast, or the lead's just going to extend.
And worse than that, I think, are we at the point here where we're more concerned about TCU scoring goals, or is time beginning to become a factor here, or will that not be until we move well into the fourth period?
I think time's already becoming a factor, being down 9 goals. We don't witness too many games that we've seen a 9-goal comeback. You just don't see it very often.
If we saw one here tonight, that would be quite exciting. And speaking of comebacks, we'll also check in over at our other field as the other game in progress here in the Division I quarterfinals between Texas and Baylor is underway. We'll try to get you a score on that game here after the third quarter break. So the loose ground ball still scrambling, picked up by Oklahoma, and now a whistle and a procedure penalty will give TCU possession. So it's crazy how this is just working out in favor of the Horned Frogs, Tom, that even when there's a foul call on a face-off, they usually seem to get the call.
Yeah, and you're going to see some careless mistakes on the part of the Sooners as this game progresses a little bit more. They're getting desperate and frantic, and they've
got to take chances now. Down by 9 goals as we move under 2 minutes to play in the third. They have to start taking chances, and that could lead to TCU goals in a hurry.
It's amazing. The ground ball game has really become a factor here, and I'm impressed with how the Horned Frogs have dealt with it and how they've been able to capitalize and score goals.
So now on the far side, Mac Rodvold working with Ethan Griffin. They look for a cutting. Is that in? That is a goal for number 50, Cole Bacher.
Good shot.
As Bacher cuts in, a beautiful pass from Ethan Griffin. What an assist there on Griffin. And hopefully we can show the assist on the replay. But a fabulous pass from Griffin to the cutting Cole Bacher. And it's now 14 to 4, as it's now a double-digit lead for the Horned Frogs.
And you watch that ball just trickle into the cage there to count it as a goal.
Well, whether it hits the back, whether it goes across the line at 100 miles an hour or 1 inch per second, they still count the same, don't they, Tom?
They sure do.
So perhaps not many style points for Mr. Bacher, but he gets a tally in the scorebook nonetheless, as it's now 14-4 advantage Horned Frogs. And we have just over a minute remaining here in the third quarter.
Got plenty of time on the shot clock. We're down to 75 seconds.
So at this point, probably more shot clock than game clock, as my estimated clock shows about 67. Actually, we're right in line. I've got about 63 seconds on the game clock, 60 seconds on the shot clock for the Horned Frogs. So should they so choose, they could effectively go ahead and rag out the remainder of the third quarter here in this Division I quarterfinal.
Yep. Horned Frogs have been down on Oklahoma's side of the field awfully
almost
long time this evening.
It's almost like the field is tilted in one direction. So double covered there. That's Carlo Miggins. He'll get rid of the ball. A shot, low shot, save Wolchuk. As Reed O'Connell with a nice shot looking for the low corner on the far side. Jack Storer now wide open. Another low shot, save Wolchuk.
And you're seeing these Horned Frogs keep shooting on goal.
Yes.
They're not, regardless of the score, they are still throwing that rock at the cage.
And now pushed away. That's Ben Claflin. As we have just seconds remaining. We have 1 minute now inside the final minute of this third quarter. Changes being made. 53 seconds on the shot clock. As the ball back up top in the hands of number 32, Shep Myers, who had the last goal for Oklahoma. Now Austin Hurd also with possession. He'll come to the near side goal line extended. 30 seconds to play here in the third quarter. As it's now a 10-goal lead for Oklahoma. They move the ball up top and sneak it past goal. As in goal now for the Horned Frogs, number 35, Jordan Snowy. And we'll check the replay on that goal and see who scored. As my vision was a block just a little bit there. But either way, it's going to be 14-5 now in favor of TCU. As that's Austin Hurd. It looks like that was possibly Shep Myers with his second goal of the game. I saw a 2 on the right side of the jersey, so I believe that was Shep Myers with his second goal. The 6'2", 200-pound freshman out of Cascadia Hall in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So now 14-5, advantage TCU, and they have possession here in the final seconds of the third quarter. As JT Macedo will back off. The final seconds of quarter number 3 ticking away.
You watch them, they're going to shoot on goal.
And a shot on goal at the horn by Robbie Hoyt goes wide as the horn sounds, ending our third quarter of play. Folks, we've got 3 quarters in the books here this evening from Ford Sports Village at the Z-Plex in Melissa, Texas, as Game On Sports Network brings you live exclusive coverage of the 2024 Lone Star Alliance Lacrosse Championships. And folks, your score as we head to fourth quarter action here in our Division I quarterfinal. It's TCU Horned Frogs 14, Oklahoma Sooners 5. And now with 15 minutes potentially remaining in their season, Tom, Oklahoma down by 9 goals. They will have to move quite quickly if they even have a shot to come back and possibly punch that ticket to tomorrow's semifinal.
I don't know. I just know that if they can't, it's going to be a long drive back to Norman.
And folks, while we have a second here, we'll check in on the other game in progress during the quarter break, as it is, they have just over 7.5 or just under 7.5 remaining in the fourth quarter over on our other field, and it's Texas Longhorns have just scored to make it Longhorns 22, Baylor Bears 6. So I think at that point, Tom, we can safely pencil in the Texas Longhorns into one of the 4 semifinal spots tomorrow afternoon. And folks, don't forget that following these games right here on Game On Sports Network, we have more exciting Lone Star Alliance Division I quarterfinal action, as right here Tom and I will have the call for our next game between the Missouri Tigers and the Texas A&M Aggies. Also over on our other field will be live coverage of the LSU Tigers against the Kansas Jayhawks. So that's 4 great games here on the slate this Friday evening, part of the Lone Star Alliance Lacrosse Championships. And Tom, this has been all TCU in this game, and Oklahoma still has 15 minutes to come back and see what they can do to make this a fight. Otherwise, the Horned Frogs punch their ticket to tomorrow's semifinal match.
Well, it's really going to take something on these Sooners' part to even be able to cut the deficit in half. I just don't think there's enough time left, and they've got to win these face-offs and take more shots on goal.
And that is a tall order indeed, as Joseph Kavanaugh, the 5'10", 165-pound sophomore has just completely dominated that face-off dot here this afternoon. I believe he's only lost 3 face-offs the entire afternoon. I believe, if my stats are correct, he is 15 out of 18 in the face-off circle in this quarterfinal match tonight.
That young man came to play this evening, and he has shown why they value him so much on this squad.
So now in the face-off circle, it's number 44, JT Macedo. And Macedo with a face-off win for the Horned Frogs. He'll dish it off quickly at a low shot, just wide of goal by Ethan Shaver, as now some different names are getting into the game here for the Horned Frogs. And the Horned Frogs will maintain possession as we have 73 on the shot clock for TCU.
It's amazing to see the prowess that these Horned Frogs are showing. They're setting up like they don't have the lead. They're doing a fantastic job.
And now the ball downfield as TCU looks to move quickly, taken away by number 10, Brandon Lee, a 6 foot, 160-pound freshman now in the game. Although he has the ball stolen by Trip Wood, the senior midi out of Atlanta, Georgia for the Sooners.
Wood immediately dishes it off and then resituates himself to get an assist, at least to get down there towards that cage.
And they'll flip the ball up to number 32, Shep Myers, who has 2 goals in the game. Myers with 2 goals. The other 3 goals for OU by number 30, Zeke Mullendor. And that's all the scoring for Oklahoma this evening in the quarterfinals, as it still is 14-5 advantage TCU. And we have about 13 and a half minutes remaining in the Oklahoma Sooner season. A shot put on goal, saved by Jordan Snowy. As Snowy in goal, the 6 foot, 160-pound freshman. So a lot of freshmen here for Coach Brody Cummins in this fourth quarter. And it's amazing to see, and very smart on the part of Coach Cummins to get these youngsters and folks who don't normally, some of these young men who normally don't play some very important game time here in the end of this quarterfinal match. So they have playoff experience going into the semifinal tomorrow afternoon.
So we've got 2 freshman goalies out there, and both of them came from good programs. And it's been a pleasure and a joy to watch them conduct their business tonight.
Jake Vitesnik with the keeper for TCU. He'll dump off to number 7, Andrew Wilson. And Andrew Wilson on with number 4, Ford Lowengard. So lots of freshmen here on the pitch for TCU as we have just over 12 minutes remaining, and the Horned Frogs with 50 on the shot clock. They put a shot on goal, the save by Wolchuk. And the loose ball scooped up by number 24, Mason Sincata. So Sincata will help move the ball forward as the long stick midi for the Sooners brings it across the timeline. That's number 11, Jackson Hicks. Another loose ground ball, and another ground ball win for TCU. This time, Tucker Jackson. Jackson storming in.
And he got another goal.
Oh, wait, let's see. That was a pass. And with the goal, that's number 13, Reed O'Connell. So O'Connell scores with just under 12 minutes to play in the match. And they have reestablished the 10-goal advantage. It's now TCU 15, OU 5.
Brian, I can't think enough or talk enough about how well this field is conditioned and this complex out here. This is a very good, applicable field and complex for them to be hosting this lacrosse game, these lacrosse games this weekend. If you ever have the opportunity to come out here to Melissa, check out the Z-Plex.
Yeah, I know this town, it used to be just a small town out north of McKinney that people didn't think about much. But I'll tell you what, Tom, this town has grown leaps and bounds, and the infrastructure that they're putting in here with an eye on athletic development, not only the Z-Plex here in Melissa, but if you haven't seen the new Kenny Deal Stadium where the Melissa Cardinals play, that is truly a sight to behold. In my mind, it rivals the new stadiums that were built in McKinney and in Allen. It rivals just about anything you'd see in a 6A football stadium at the 5A level. So the community here in Melissa definitely committed to top-notch, high-quality athletic development of their youth for the foreseeable future.
You're absolutely right. It's some of these kids, they will relish these facilities and talk about it for years to come.
Yeah, and turf field here, the Reed field has just been put in. They had already had the one turf field over on the other side where the contest is taking place right now between Texas and Baylor as that contest is winding down. We'll see when that goes final. We'll get you a final score as soon as we have one available. But the second field to be put in, this one primarily used for soccer. The other field looks like it is marked for football. But still, two excellent turf fields here that the Lone Star Alliance is using to full benefit, and they definitely meet college lacrosse standards without a doubt.
Yeah, they didn't spare any expense when they put these fields down, this turf down. And it's, what do you call it, state of the art.
And so we move under 10 minutes remaining here in the contest as TCU in control. As Reed O'Connell working up top with number 2. So TCU firmly in control in this match with less than 10 minutes to play as they hold a 15-5 advantage. 60 on the shot clock as we start to see some more familiar faces return now for TCU in Robbie Hoyt and Matthew Lockman. Lockman and Hoyt will play the two-man game up top. As Hoyt looking for a shot down to 45 on the shot clock. Instead, he'll dish to the near side. A nice open shot just wide by number 29, Ethan Shaver. He had a great look on goal from the near side. To play out of X, brought in by number 13, Reed O'Connell. As O'Connell, a one-time shot and a goal right there. Tally, that's number 11, Luke P.
Was there for the dish, dished off, saw that his buddy was open and took a fine shot.
Yeah, UCP signaling for the ball. Right there goes 5-hole on Wolchuk. And Tom, it's now 16-5 in favor of the Horned Frogs.
You look back at Coach Purcell's initial comments that he thought it'd be a +or-3 margin of victory. Boy, did things go awry for these Sooners.
And the Sooners with only 5 goals on the evening, scored by 2 goal scorers, as Reed O'Connell will keep the ball in play on the far side. He'll be marked by Jackson Hicks, but another face-off win for TCU. Wolchuk makes the save on the loose ball in the crease, but the pass errant and picked up by the long stick midi for TCU, number 19, Darren Tovden. And Tovden completely shed Cooper Harris. Harris comes rolling into the TCU bench here on the near sideline.
Just good hustle. These Horned Frogs are just as stoked as they can be right now, despite the score. I think everybody wants to get in a last goal or two before the clock runs out.
And that clock with just over 8 minutes remaining here in quarter number 4 of this Division I quarterfinal. And folks, as we mentioned earlier, stay with us as we still have another exciting Division I quarterfinal coming up next between the University of Missouri and Texas A&M. And the winner of that game will face the winner of this game in one of the 2 Division I semifinals that will take place tomorrow afternoon right here on Game On Sports Network at 4 p.m. Central. So Oklahoma now with possession as Greg Drawn takes the ball into X, comes out on the far side, goes back up top with number 32, Shep Myers. And once again, Tom, I see no intensity, no alacrity. It's almost as if the Sooners have resigned themselves to their fate. We're only midway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah, sadly enough, I think this is the case, Brian, and it just shows that I think they've kind of given up. But they can learn from this. This is going to sting. This defeat from a team that's got a better, lesser record is going to sting for a while.
And Drawn loses the ball out of bounds. The turnover to TCU. as the ball brought back into play by number 15, Brace Martin. Martin, a 6'4", 200-pound sophomore, as it's now all freshmen and sophomores in the game for the Horned Frogs, as they look to take out the last 7 minutes of clock time here. They have 60 on the shot clock before they find themselves in a date in tomorrow afternoon's Division I semifinal.
OU retained a turnover.
Wolchuk with the save. He dishes out to number 19, Ben Claflin. Claflin looking to make a move. And he is roughed up just outside the crease by his counterpart, number 19, Darren Tofton. No penalty flag on that play, Jim. Or, I mean, Tom, I'm sorry, excuse me, but that was a lot of contact there right in front of the TCU crease.
You know, it could have gone either way.
Looked like it could have been a high stick to me.
Yeah.
But the officials say play on.
Officials are pretty much know what's happening out here tonight.
So we have less than 6 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter, as TCU still in command. Now 16-5 the advantage. 2 goals here in the fourth period, one by Reed O'Connell and one by Luke P. As it's all subs here in these final 10 minutes for the Horned Frogs. Oklahoma now with possession, a loose ground ball there, dropped by Jackson Hicks. And Hicks will lose the ball out of bounds on the far side. And that play right there pretty much is the entire story of the evening, Tom, for Oklahoma, as a simple pass from the goalkeeper to, the midi to move it upfield has difficulty.
Well, they got fortunate there, Brian, that the one of the Horned Frogs tapped it last before it went out for them to retain possession. But now look what's happened. Another turnover, and here come the Horned Frogs once again.
Right, the goalkeeper, that's Snowy, in goal now for TCU. Moves the ball forward as Tofton will get the ball across the timeline, but he'll lose the ball. And now another penalty flag, as the officials will stop play with just under 5 minutes remaining. And whatever the call is, we'll get it here from the official.
1 minute.
And it will be a slashing penalty against Oklahoma. So not only is Oklahoma down 11 goals here with less than 5 minutes to play, they're now down a man for the next 60 seconds.
Interesting.
Now, you had a better look at that, Tom. Tell me what you saw from your vantage point.
Well, I didn't get to see the whole ordeal, but it looked like a penalty that turned into a turnover back over to the Horned Frogs.
So now the Horned Frogs man up for the next 60 seconds. And another penalty flag coming in. This will be another penalty against Oklahoma as TCU is playing the advantage. Ethan Griffin will move the ball. And Bacher unable to keep the ball in bounds. And now we'll get the penalty call with just over 4 minutes to play. Another slashing penalty. And now 2 players in the penalty box. The first penalty against Josh Hoved. And now this time it's number 11, Jackson Hicks, who will join Hoved in the penalty box. A 2-man up advantage for the Horned Frogs.
That was a good look.
And see if that was a goal. And it appears that may have been a goal. We'll check the replay. And it is Ethan Griffin with his second goal of the match. As he had a wide open look there, Griffin scores to make it 17-5 in favor of TCU.
You know, if you watch Griffin there, he took his time, went with his instincts, and was able to capitalize on yet another goal for the Horned Frogs.
So 5:01 remaining here in period number 4. As TCU now less than 5 minutes away from punching their ticket.
And winning another face-off.
Yeah, another face-off win. So not only did Joseph Kavanaugh have dominance in the face-off circle, it appears that JT Macedo doesn't miss a beat either, as he is also equal to the task for TCU. I mean, Macedo now, that's 6 face-off wins in a row for him. So 4.5 minutes remaining in the game. 55 on the shot clock for TCU. As Brandon Lee comes on, and now the fourth line will attack for the Horned Frogs. Number 47, Carlo Miggins, one of the twins out there quarterbacking this offensive effort with a bunch of youngsters as TCU will move the ball into X. They come all the way back up top with number 29, Ethan Shaver. Shaver double teamed. He'll get rid of the ball. Picked up by number 41, Brady Hughes. Hughes goes back up top, 20 on the shot clock as he'll dish back to Miggins. Miggins marked by number 23, Jay Cox. And the shot by Miggins goes wide. And it will be 16 remaining on the shot clock as TCU brings the ball back into play. A move there by Miggins. What a shot and a goal. Miggins goes over the top of his defender, right under the bar. A great shot here, as you'll see on the replay, Tom. And it's now 18-5 advantage for TCU. Watch this on the replay.
Just another good reflex action there. You know, you can't teach that. That's a natural ability at hand right here. And what a play. Further extending the Horned Frogs' lead.
So Carlo Miggins with the goal, his first of the game. And it's now 18-5 TCU. As we have just over 3.5 minutes remaining, or just over 3 minutes remaining. And a penalty flag on the play here. Or just a foul. This is a foul call. With 3:24 to play. We'll resume play now. TCU in possession. A full 80 on the shot clock. And they're just two shot clocks away here from an opportunity to advance to the semifinals tomorrow afternoon.
The semifinals are going to be something to really keep an eye on, and we hope you all stay tuned for that action, as it's going to be fantastic lacrosse.
Indeed, those Division I semifinals will come your way tomorrow afternoon right here on Game On Sports Network. We'll be on air at 4 p.m. Central Time. That's 5 Eastern. A shot on goal. What a crazy goal right there on the run. I believe that was Brady Hughes. Let's check the replay, as it's now 19-5 in favor of the Horned Frogs. And Brady Hughes goes back across his body. A fantastic goal for TCU.
Coming across his body, coming across the cage. Level shot, mid-cage. Just beautiful.
So Hughes now with a tally for the Horned Frogs. 19-5 is the score, as we have just under 3 minutes remaining in the game. A whistle and a hold call will give the ball to Oklahoma. So now Oklahoma with the ball, but trailing by 14. It would appear at this point now that Oklahoma just wants to put a couple of goals in the net to make the score just look a little bit better, Tom.
Yeah, I think they're just going to work on some fundamentals, get ready for what happens to them next. They know there's nothing they can do at this point.
And the ball in X with number 17, Trip Wood. He'll go back up top to number 2, Cole Caldwell. Caldwell comes all the way around, trying to move inside, tries a backhanded shot on Snowy. The ball goes behind the net, and as Hove tried to scoop it up, he just knocked the ball right to the goalkeeper, number 35, Jordan Snowy. And Snowy now in control as the clock moves under 2 minutes to play in the match.
Yeah, that was a good idea on that shot, but just not as accurate as it needed to be.
And now charging forward for TCU, number 25, Will Ralph. As Ralph puts a shot on goal, the save by Walchuk, rather. And a scramble for the ground ball. Pulled away by number 11, Luke P. Still on the ground. Nobody winning the ground ball yet. And now a whistle with 1:33 remaining. And we'll see who will have possession. It looks like TCU will keep possession.
There's already some minor celebrations over here on this Horned Frog bench. They've earned it.
And
they really came to play today, Brian.
And a penalty coming in on the slash. Picking up the penalty for Oklahoma, number 28, Colin Senger. So now 60 of the remaining 93 seconds in this match will be a man-up advantage for TCU. They get a fresh shot clock of 80. So they will be able to take most of the remaining time off this clock here and press that button and move forward to the semifinals tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, you've really got to hand it to these Horned Frogs. They stayed composed being down those 2 or 3 goals. They came back and rallied, and they haven't looked back.
No, they were down early in this game, 2-0. And after that, they came back and scored 10 over the course of 2 periods, scored 10 unanswered goals to take a 10-2 lead before Oklahoma could score again to make it 10-3, and since then they've never looked back. The only thing left now is if TCU can make it 20 with 40 seconds to play. Still 15 seconds remaining on the penalty to Singer.
And yet we see another turnover on the Sooners' behalf. That's been their Achilles all game.
Will Gambrell will hold up for TCU as they take the ball back into X with number 21, Mac Rodvold. The starters back on now for the Horned Frogs as we've got 20 seconds remaining in the match. They come back to the near side with Ethan Griffin. And Griffin will just walk around, not even being challenged by the Sooners. He'll leave the ball right on the pitch as both teams are content to allow time to expire. And the horn sounds ending this evening's game. Ladies and gentlemen, the final horn is sounded here at Ford Sports Village at the Z-Plex in Melissa, Texas, as Game On Sports Network has brought you live exclusive coverage of tonight's Lone Star Alliance Division I quarterfinal. And folks, your final score here from the Z-Plex: TCU Horned Frogs 19, Oklahoma Sooners 5. And Tom, this was just complete and total domination this evening by TCU.
Yeah, let's let them go enjoy the victory.
Indeed, and folks, we're going to step aside and take you over to the other field. Pardon me, we're going to keep it right here. Well, while they make up their minds, we're going to talk here for a little bit, Tim, as
They need you to end the broadcast.
they have 12 different goal scorers on the evening for TCU. As we'll wrap up tonight's broadcast here and sign off. So, folks, on behalf of everyone here from Game On Sports Network and my broadcast partner, Tim McGee, this is Brian Shackelford thanking you for joining us and for your support of Lone Star Alliance Championship Lacrosse. And now we'll send it back